Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Encouragement Thursday. Each week we try to give you a word of encouragement, but today I thought I would whip out some piano music and we would give you an encouraging song instead of just a word today. So no, I'm just kidding. I can't play the piano at all, nor can I sing very well either. But I do want to encourage you, and I feel like this probably wouldn't do that. So let me just share with you something that God's been sharing with me from His Word. I made it through the book of Acts today, and one of the incredible things about the book of Acts to me is that, especially when it comes to Paul, as you watch how God works in Paul's life, a lot of times the big things happen when the circumstances look like they're bad. And so I've just been noticing that, like Paul will find himself in a really bad situation that really looks rough and unpleasant, but it's in those moments that God shines the most. So I was reading through the other day in Acts and came upon the Philippian jailer. And the Philippian jailer, in that situation, Paul and Silas had just been beaten and thrown into prison, and everything looked really bad. And they were literally in jail. And then God is going to do an incredible thing through them because He frees everybody. But instead of running when the jailer's getting ready to kill himself, Paul cries out and he shares the gospel, and the jailer and his family are saved. And it's just an incredible thing, but everything about it looks so bad. But then God shows up and it's incredible. And I was finishing out the book today and I was in Acts chapter 28. And Acts chapter 28, instead of listening to Paul's advice, they end up trying to sail through and they find themselves in a storm and everything is really bad. Like the storm is bad. They're ready to jump ship. Paul's like, you're only going to be saved if you stay on the boat. And it seems like days of stormy, choppy waters. But then they land on this island of Malta. And it says in just a few verses in Acts 28, it says, when they had been brought safely through, then we found out that the island was called Malta. The natives showed us extraordinary kindness, for because of the rain that had set in and because of the cold, they kindled a fire and received us all. And so we see that God is going to do amazing things. Paul's going to end up healing a lot of people. In verse number 9, it says, after this had happened, the rest of the people on the island who had diseases were coming to him and getting cured. They also honored us with many marks of respect. And when we were setting sail, they supplied us with all we needed. So why do I share that? How does that encourage us? Well, it encourages us in this way. Sometimes, I don't know if you're like me or not, but sometimes we can get really caught up and immersed in the circumstances, so much so that it's easy to look at a time in prison after you've been beaten as a very negative situation. It's easy to look at being shipwrecked or in a storm and choppy waters as being very negative. But his whole pursuit was Christ. So his focus was on Jesus all the time. He was pursuing him. He was loving him. He was striving for him. And what that shows to me, and hopefully to you as well, is that even when the waters are choppy, there's storms all around, even when the circumstances look bad, when we fix our eyes on God and our pursuit is in him, then he works all things out for his glory and for his purpose, and true fruitfulness comes even from those situations that look kind of hopeless and really, really bad. And so I share that with you today because for me, that's a source of encouragement and hope, because in life, the ebbs and flows of the life that we live, sometimes the stormy waters and the shifting sands can leave us in a place where we get so consumed in the circumstances that we lose sight of the Savior. And we forget that our main pursuit is Christ. And if we will set our eyes on him, even though those choppy waters may come, he is in control of it all. And he can still bring about his purposes, his glory, fruitfulness, because he is in control. And so for me, and for you, I hope today, this is an encouragement, even when life doesn't make sense. And let's be honest, there's a lot of times life doesn't make sense. The amazing thing is we are privileged to know a Savior that created, is in control of everything, and that is an anchor that we can anchor our life to. It is a solid foundation that will not change, that will not fail, that will not leave. And so even when everything else seems rocky, a solid ground is our Savior. And so let me encourage you with this today. Whatever your life looks like right now, What you and I need to strive to do, just like Paul did, is just fix our eyes on Christ. Don't get caught up in the circumstances. He's a Savior that's faithful to be there even when the circumstances shift. And if we can just fix our eyes on Him and make Him our delight, that even when the storms come, it doesn't change where our eyes are at. It doesn't change where our hope is anchored into. It still is anchored into a Savior that is able to speak and stop the storm at any given time. So I hope that is an encouragement to you today. It is always a source of hope no matter what you may be going through. Jesus is the Savior of the world. All of our hope, rest, peace, and everything is found in Him. So let's you and I strive to just focus on Him with all that we are and know that He is a solid foundation, a solid rock that will not change, that will not leave us, that is always faithful. So I hope you have a great day in the Lord. Thanks for tuning in again. Maybe I'll get some training in the future and be able to actually sing a song to you. But I'm sorry if you were really built up, excited about that. It didn't come through today, but maybe sometime in the future. Okay. Y'all have a great day and look forward to seeing you soon.